My name is Craig Colorusso. I am in Rogers, Arkansas. I like the Art Center. I'm so honored to still be in cahoots with you all. I'm ready to come back whenever you are ready to have me. And I do remember when I went there, I had no idea what it was going to be like. And I remember telling a friend of mine prior, I was like, I've never been to Quincy, Illinois. I have no idea what it's like, but I'm open. And so I went and I told him about this, the worst gig I've ever had. But when I went to Quincy, I walked in and I don't even remember who I spoke to, but I said, "Hi, is Jennifer there?" And the woman said, "Sure, who's calling?" I said, "Oh, my name's Craig." And she's like, "Craig Colorusso, the artist?" And I said, "Yeah." And then all of a sudden I heard, "Oh my God, Craig's here." And Zach came flying out of nowhere. I heard a bunch of things falling down. He's like, "Awesome, come on in, I gotta show you the space." And I was like, this is totally different than my gig in Wisconsin. I'm so happy to be here. I feel like I was totally in love with rock and roll. The volume, the travel, it was awesome. But being on stage, I felt like my mind started to wander. And I thought there's so many things that we could do that is just better than being cramped on this stage that's in a room that's not designed for sound and basically just directing sound right at people's faces. So, I loved it, but my mind has always been wandering. And I feel like I just somehow was able to put all the pieces together, just kind of create music that would go infinitely and allow people to kind of come and interact with it. And so it's just been kind of growing on those ideas, wanting to make something that people could literally feel like they're part of. I like objects. And I remember I was in Florence with my wife and she's like, "Dude, have you ever seen the David?" And I was like, "What do I want to see that guy for?" We went and I swear to God, I was walking and I just stopped in my tracks when I saw it. And it was like, 100 feet away. It is so amazing to see that and be before it. Because prior to that, I'd only seen photographs and videos and they just don't do it justice. It doesn't seem like art. It just seems like almost like a caricature of what art could be. And so when I was there before it, I thought, this is art, not the object. It's the relationship between the person and the thing. And so with that in mind, I feel like we can do anything when you create an environment. And so for me, I just always wanted to kind of really, really kind of focus on not necessarily the object, but what you could do with that object. And for me, it just seemed to work most with installations. And I like things that evolve. I like things that sort of change. I like things that float, glow, and drone. And I feel like I can do all of that so easily in a space that you can kind of come into. Well, the first set of SunBoxes were actually rectangles. Um, a quick backstory: in 2008, my really good friend, Sexy David Sanchez, called me up and said, "Yo, make something solar. We're going to the desert," and just hung up the phone. And I was like, "Okay." And so I started playing around with this chord, the B flat 6 chord, and I thought, how awesome would it be to have this chord being played through 20 Fender Champ amplifiers, my favorite amp. And so then it turned into this solar piece, and I thought, I don't want to get goofy with the boxes. They are just boxes with speakers in them. I don't need to make them into unicorns or anything. So I just made basically 20 Fender Champ style boxes with solar panels on them. The problem is with the speaker being higher than the midline, sometimes the panels would act like sails and they'd fall over. So the new design with the triangles, if those get blown over in the wind, it's time to come inside because that's really strong wind. I would say that was the first major hurdle that I feel like I had to deal with. A lot of people are like, "Well, what are you going to do when it rains?" And my response is, I don't know. I mean, my job is to show up with the boxes. What I've learned so far is that Mother Nature is extremely humbling, and there's nothing I can do except be there and just see what happens. I always have a rain date attached to everything. So I don't really feel like the weather so much is like an obstacle. It's just another variable. The SunBoxes, the audio from start to finish, it would take 3.12 months before the audio would start over again with all the polyrhythms. And that's impossible on this planet. So I thought, how cool would it be to have these out in space, outer space, have them all tethered to like some spaceship and hear it in its entirety, like record it, get like a sponsor from NASA and all this stuff. I had a gig in Anchorage at the museum there, and I ran into like an astronaut, and I thought, wow, he's the guy to talk to. And so I'm telling him this idea, and he's like, dude, there's no sound in space. You're not going to hear anything. And I was like, oh, yeah. I feel like I should have known that, and maybe I didn't, I forgot, but so it wouldn't work. So I'm glad I didn't write any proposals. So that was my favorite thing. I don't know. I collaborated with some dancers and with the Moon Pod and SunBoxes, and they moved the boxes, and I thought that was really cool. I'd love to do more with people moving the boxes as sort of this choreography kind of thing. I was a dancer for a while, so I have dance always in the back of my mind. So I think that another great idea would be, I don't know how to pull this off, but like some kind of area where you have to basically travel for 20 minutes through like thick, deep woods or a jungle of some sort. And then you get to a clearing where it's all open and you can hear the sunnies. So the idea is that each of the SunBoxes has its own guitar note that plays continuously as long as there's enough power. And so right from the start, the idea was 20 pieces coming together. And so why not break it back up into 20 pieces and kind of let people do whatever they want to do with themselves. And this idea came up prior to COVID. It just seems that it's actually perfect for the situation now. You know, the idea is that we thought maybe you could have a party and people could kind of make their own SunBoxes with 20 cell phones and just kind of go in the middle of nowhere and do it. And, you know, now everyone's at home. I thought, you know, you could still do that. It's so easy to do because everybody already has, you know, Spotify. And if you don't, you can go to Bandcamp and you can do it for free. You know, why not give people the tools to, you know, create these things themselves? I have another piece called the Cottonwood Drone in A, which is going to be a series of triangles made out of wood that have sound and light, and they'll be outside. It's called Cottonwood Drone because it was originally supposed to be a chandelier on this tree, and like several speakers hanging from this tree with lights. But somewhere along the way, they built a deck, and this tree got really sick, and so it started to die, and they had some fancy like tree doctor come and shoot up with steroids. And so the tree's doing okay, but I don't think we can hang anything from it. So it turned into this like kind of like free floating piece that I'm working on. I have another piece called Sound Steps, which is 17 blocks that each have a composition that you activate when you sit or stand on it. So once again, all this stuff is outside. I like it outside.